Our story begins in a small, quiet town called Lone Crow in California. On what seems like a normal day, some townspeople head out for a peaceful picnic near the river. Everything is calm until they notice an abandoned boat drifting along the shore. Curious, they decide to check it out, but what they find inside shocks them completely. There is a badly decomposed body, so ruined that it almost looks melted. Horrified, they immediately call the police. Soon, we meet the main character, John Hawkins, the local police chief. Hawkins arrives quickly at the scene. Forensic Officer Connie is already there and informs Hawkins that the body is in an extremely disturbing state. The body has no bones left inside, only flesh remains, as if the bones were completely removed, which is nearly impossible. The body is sent for an autopsy. Jacob Redgrave, who works as the coroner, examines it while Hawkins stays close by. Jacob explains that it looks like someone removed all the bones very precisely, but it's hard to imagine how that could happen. They also find a strange insect, a wasp, inside the body, which Jacob preserves in a jar. Hawkins tells Connie to keep it safe since it might give clues about the cause of death. Later, Connie discovers the identity of the victim. His name is Dr. Cole Parsons, a scientist who had come to Lone Crow the previous year. They find his wallet and some personal items in the boat. He used to be a university professor, but he left everything behind to live in a remote house by the lake in the woods. Connie also finds some property documents confirming his stay. Now, Hawkins has a lead. He decides to start his investigation by visiting Parsons' cabin in the forest. Before this, we are introduced to Meg Fulbright, who used to work with the police as a wilderness guide and was also Hawkins' former girlfriend. Their relationship ended because Hawkins planned to leave Lone Crow and move to the city, which Meg didn't want. Meg preferred to stay close to nature and didn't want him to leave either. This difference eventually broke them apart. Interestingly, Meg was also Jacob's ex-girlfriend, which adds a layer of personal tension to the story. Hawkins meets Meg and shares the news about Cole Parsons' death. Meg remembers Parsons from a year ago when she had helped him with some supplies. She knew he was working on some scientific experiments in the forest, but didn't know many details. Hawkins asks her to join him on this dangerous trip, and Meg agrees. Hawkins also informs Jacob. Both agreed to go with him. Before setting out, Hawkins tries to gather more information and discovers another disturbing detail. Cole Parsons had a young daughter who went missing a year ago and was never found. The next day, Hawkins, Meg, and Jacob gather their gear and travel deep into the forest. Part of the journey requires them to travel by boat to reach the isolated cabin. While they're on the way, Connie calls Hawkins and tells him that the wasp they had found in Parsons' body was dead yesterday, but has now come back to life. Connie asks if she should send it to the lab, but Hawkins tells her to wait until they return. Connie also shares that when Cole Parsons' daughter went missing, his wife Linda had a mental breakdown and was hospitalized for 3 months. She even blamed Cole for their daughter's disappearance. As night falls, Hawkins, Meg, and Jacob finally reach their destination, the old cabin by the lake where Dr. Cole Parsons lived. But instead of a cozy lakeside retreat, the cabin now looks abandoned and creepy, almost like a haunted house. Meg is surprised and saddened because when she visited a year ago, it was beautiful and welcoming. Hawkins asks Meg and Jacob to wait outside while he cautiously steps inside alone. At first, he calls out, hoping someone might be there, but the place is in complete chaos. Furniture is overturned, things are scattered everywhere, and it's clear no one has stayed here for a long time. While he's searching, we see strange, unsettling details, like the ceiling above moving in an unnatural way, hinting at something sinister. Hawkins finds one room with the door tightly shut. he decides not to force it open yet and goes back outside to bring Meg and Jacob inside. Since it's late and they're deep in the woods, they decide to stay in the cabin overnight despite the uneasy atmosphere. While exploring, they hear odd noises echoing through the house. Hawkins tries to reassure them, saying it's probably just rats or raccoons, but the tension keeps building. Suddenly, the lights in the cabin flicker on by themselves, making the place feel even more eerie. They find a door to the basement and decide to investigate. Down there, they discover a large power source, a strange machine that looks like an oversized industrial charger. Although they can't fully understand its purpose, it seems powerful and dangerous. This matches the earlier hints about a mysterious machine connected to Cole's experiments. While checking the kitchen cabinets, they notice thick wires running upstairs, suggesting that whatever machine is here might be hidden in the attic. The room that Hawkins had found locked before is now mysteriously open. He informs his friends, and all three go inside to check it out. They discover the walls covered in bizarre drawings and occult symbols, mixed with scientific notes and strange objects. It looks like a twisted mix of science and black magic, and some of the sketches are disturbingly dark and terrifying. As they're inspecting everything, a large fly suddenly bites Jacob on the face. Furious and shaken, Jacob storms out of the room to calm himself down. A little later, Hawkins contacts Connie and asks her to find out who built this strange house. But due to electromagnetic interference from the attic, their connection suddenly cuts off again. Meanwhile, there's tension between Jacob and Hawkins, because Jacob still feels hurt over Meg. She was once his girlfriend before she dated Hawkins. This creates an awkward atmosphere among the three. As they prepare to sleep, Hawkins suggests that they all stay together in one room for safety. But Meg refuses, wanting her own space. That night, Jacob starts feeling very sick, likely because of the insect bite he got earlier. No one is able to sleep well. Meg confides in Hawkins that she senses something deeply wrong with this place. Even though she spent many nights alone in the forest before, this cabin feels different and threatening. Their conversation brings them closer, and we see a hint of renewed intimacy between them. Meanwhile, we see a staircase lowering from the attic, adding to the eerie tension. Jacob's condition worsens, and it appears as if he's no longer fully in control of himself. Suddenly, they hear a noise outside. Quickly grabbing their clothes and weapons, they rush out and come face to face with a woman holding a shotgun. She turns out to be Linda, Dr. Cole Parsons' wife, who has come searching for her missing husband. Hawkins quickly explains that they are the police and that Cole's body was found by the river. Linda, realizing they mean no harm, lowers her gun. They all sit down to talk. Hawkins asks Linda how she found this remote cabin. She reveals that she got information from a private agency and arrived yesterday to look for Cole. While they talk, Meg goes down to the basement, hoping to restore the cabin's power. There, the audience sees a ghostly silhouette of a little girl following her. When Meg turns around, she finds a doll and keeps it with her, sensing its importance. Meanwhile, Hawkins notices Jacob is missing from the room and goes out to search for him. He looks up and sees strange activity coming from the attic. The three of them rush upstairs and find Jacob trapped inside the strange machine they had suspected earlier. They pull him out quickly, but he is clearly not himself anymore, acting dazed and disconnected. During this tense moment, Linda also hears the voice of her missing daughter calling to her from the attic, adding a painful emotional layer to the mystery. After pulling Jacob out of the machine, Hawkins and the others question him, asking how the machine started and what he was doing in the attic. Jacob, looking confused and weak, insists he remembers nothing at all. Meanwhile, Linda stands in front of the strange machine, visibly shaken. Meg approaches her and asks what this device really is. Linda explains it's a particle collider designed to create a strong magnetic field. She warns them that it's extremely dangerous and potentially deadly for humans. Hawkins then takes Linda to the room filled with dark sketches and creepy symbols. Linda, horrified, says she lived with Cole for 10 years, but is certain this twisted work isn't his. She believes something much darker took over him. In the middle of all this, Hawkins finds a laptop with a password lock. He asks Linda to help unlock it, but before she can, they spot Cole Parsons himself standing outside, alive and seemingly normal. They run out in shock, realizing it's not an illusion. Linda, overwhelmed with anger and betrayal, slaps Cole across the face. He quietly accepts it, saying he deserves everything that's happening to him. Back inside, they sit down to talk. Hawkins demands answers about where Cole has been and what happened, mentioning that they found a body and believed Cole was dead. Cole only laughs and avoids giving any direct answers, especially about the machine or his experiments. Meanwhile, at the police station, Connie keeps trying to contact Hawkins. She notices something alarming. The wasp they had previously found dead has not only come back to life, but has now multiplied into 2. This clue strongly suggests a connection to Cole's strange machine. At the same time, we see Jacob's condition getting worse. His body starts to change in grotesque ways. New fingernails growing on top of his original ones, extra teeth forming, and even layered bones developing. He is mutating rapidly, clearly a result of his exposure to the machine. Hawkins keeps questioning Cole, but Cole refuses to give any real answers. Even when Linda asks him directly why he disappeared, he only gives vague, confusing replies. Meanwhile, we see that Jacob seems to be taking orders from Cole, almost as if he's under some kind of mind control. Later, when Linda goes to check on Jacob, she is horrified to see how badly his body has mutated. She rushes to tell Hawkins and Meg. Seeing Jacob's terrifying transformation, they all panic and decide they need to leave immediately. But when they go outside, they realize the boat they used to arrive is missing. Hawkins starts to suspect Cole even more. When Cole makes some cryptic, unsettling comments, Hawkins loses his temper. He punches Cole, knocks him to the ground, and then handcuffs him to prevent any further danger. Linda suggests they should check a nearby camp, thinking there might be another way out or help there. Hawkins and Meg agree and head to the camp. When they arrive, they find lots of equipment and supplies, but inside, they also discover several rotting, mutilated bodies. Shocked and horrified, they quickly leave. Outside, Meg vomits from the stress and the awful sight. Hawkins stays by her side to comfort her, and during this vulnerable moment, Meg reveals that she is pregnant. Back at the cabin, Linda stays alone with Cole. She starts to piece together the truth and realizes that Cole has been hiding many dark secrets. She manages to unlock his laptop using the nickname Tinkerbell, which Cole used to call her. On the laptop, she finds horrifying footage showing that Cole had been experimenting on many people using the machine. Each time someone entered it, they came out with something evil growing inside them, almost like a demonic entity taking over. It's also revealed that Cole himself went into the machine. The original mutilated body they found at the start was actually the real Cole's corpse. The Cole standing before them now is a monstrous version, born from that machine. In a shocking twist, it's revealed that he even sacrificed their daughter as part of his horrific experiments. At this point, Cole locks Linda inside a room to keep her from interfering. When Hawkins and Meg return, they find Cole missing. Hawkins tells Meg to wait outside and cautiously enters the house with his gun ready. Inside, he discovers Jacob's body splitting open from the inside. Suddenly, a monstrous mutated creature bursts out of Jacob's remains and attacks Hawkins. He fights desperately to survive. Just in time, Meg rushes in with a gun and shoots the creature, finally killing it. Seeing the horror unfold, Hawkins realizes that they must destroy the machine to stop this nightmare. He sends Meg outside for safety and starts preparing to blow up the machine using gasoline and makeshift explosives. Meanwhile, Linda escapes from the room holding an axe, determined to kill Cole herself. But when she reaches the basement, she sees a vision of her daughter inside the machine. Overcome with emotion, Linda loses control and steps into the machine, becoming another victim of its evil power. Outside, mutated humans, former victims of Cole's experiments, begin emerging from the forest and slowly move toward the house. Meg stands her ground, shooting as many as she can, but they keep coming in overwhelming numbers. In the basement, Hawkins finds gasoline and carries it up to the attic where Cole is waiting. By now, Linda has fully transformed, and Meg is forced to shoot and kill her, heartbroken. In the attic, a brutal fight breaks out between Hawkins and the mutated Cole. Cole bites off 2 of Hawkins's fingers, but Hawkins manages to grab a metal rod and smashes Cole's head with it. Seizing the moment, Hawkins sets the attic on fire. As flames spread rapidly, Hawkins yells for Meg to escape. Meg manages to run out, but Cole grabs Hawkins, preventing him from leaving. A massive explosion rips through the house, destroying everything inside. Hawkins dies in the blast, sacrificing himself to end the terror. Meg is left alone and badly shaken. In the final moments, we see a chilling glimpse of the mutated creatures attacking her, hinting that her nightmare is far from over. And now the story jumps 8 months ahead. We see Meg at home, and she is pregnant. Connie comes to return some of Hawkins' belongings to her. After Connie leaves, Meg burns those items, and then we see Meg's completely decayed body lying under a tree. This means that Meg is no longer who she used to be. Now she is something else, or someone else entirely. Her unborn child will also not be normal. This is where the film ends. Some questions come to mind after watching the story. Cole's machine actually opened a door to another dimension, created by combining science and dark magic. When someone entered the machine, creatures from another world entered their body and took birth inside them. These beings were some kind of demons or something else. It is not clearly explained, but their only purpose was to harm and kill humans. Meg never went inside the machine, so how did her body change? Actually, if a mutated person bites a normal human, the virus enters their body and changes them too. Even if Hawkins had survived, he would have died because Cole had bitten him. Now everything depends on Meg. What kind of destruction she will bring to this world. Hope you understood.